everybody. I'm Dave Turner, and I'm the editor of Tabletop Journal, and I thank you for coming to this, what I hope is going to be a great conversation about tabletop from all the important critical aspects. We've got a great designer, Martin Hunt, who's joined us from London. Martin is with the firm, right here, Martin. Martin is with the firm Queensberry and Hunt that's been designing hospitality dinnerware for more years than we can probably all count. And next in line we have a manufacturer, and we brought John Miles from Steelite. Steelite is one of the most creative and innovative companies in our business today. Wherever you go in the world, people always use Steelite as the benchmark. For our supply chain expert, we've got Tommaso Cardana. Tommaso has a company called Tomson Hospitality, which was started in 2008 in Miami, and he takes a very different approach. He takes more of a boutique approach, and maybe we'll hear a little bit more about that, but it's a very unique approach. It's not the traditional wholesaler, equipment and supplies dealer mentality. And then finally, we've got Ed Brown. Ed is the Senior VP, Chef, and the Chief Innovator for Restaurant Associates. Restaurant Associates operates, I think, over 100 venues. 160 venues, and they do all kinds of things from museums to healthcare to corporate dining. So they have a wide variety of food service that they offer. And what we're going to do today is we're going to just begin a conversation and let it go where it goes. We've got some specific questions. We're going to run hopefully about 40 minutes, and then at the end we'll have some Q&A. So you can ask these experts whatever you might like to in terms of tabletop and any questions you might have, because we've got everybody, all the key areas covered here. So. It is. All the mics should work. And I'll start with Martin. Martin, you've been designing dinnerware for all kinds of different companies like Rosenthal, for Oneida, and others in the hospitality area. Do you design things that the companies request more, or do you go out and you bring ideas to the companies that you work for?
We've been in it for a long time, and next year is our 50th year in business. And I graduated in 1966 from Art College, and in that time, of course, one has had a lot of experiences and seen businesses come and go, and the customers develop in all sorts of ways. So we're probably not typical in the way we would attack a problem. Internally in our design group, we probably start off with having a row between each other, and then always the question, with this new possibility for us, working for a new client, probably what is the nearest thing we've already done that you could pull out and say it's something like that. The other approach is where the customer gives a very close brief. We definitely want something like this. And then we look at it and say, hang on a minute, have they thought about that possibility, or that possibility? And so in a way we start taking the brief to bits. There is I suppose, having been in it quite a long time, is that probably the word we are reaching for in the eventual product is the word appropriate. It's got to somehow fit, it's got to look real. And whatever the tricks of the ceramic process or ceramic chemistry or engineering does to it, it's got to look real. So, I mean, I suppose that to start off
as you're describing that, Martin, I'm thinking of Ed on the end. I'm thinking, at what point does the eventual end user of this product, where do you come into that? Do you ever suggest to people like Martin or designer, does the Restaurant Associates work with designers?
Well, I have, and I think I have with you.
We've done a few.
Dave and I met first over 25 years ago working on a project, and often we give direction of what we're looking for. There is a certain sort of, when Martin says appropriate, I think form and function sort of analogy of, is it the appropriate item for that project, for that location, for what's going to be served. I've sort of come full circle into when you used to bring me different samples of plates, for example, back in the day that were not out yet. They're like, here, these just came off of somebody designing plates. And we used to cook dinners on the fly on those plates and create food around the plates and the dishes. And, I've sort of moved away from a lot of patterns to much more simple china, things that are more about shape and how they frame the food more than it's all about the plate. In those days, we used to look at really wild plates and food existed in the dish. Now, I've gone more to making more simple food, but in a beautiful frame.
John, do you, when you come up with, Steelite comes up with new designs, do you give the designs to, I know you have a great design staff on staff, but when you work with outside people or maybe even internal people, do you tell them, this is what we're looking for, this is what our customer head is looking for, or do they just come with ideas?
I mean, I think it's a two-pronged approach for us. Sometimes we have customers who come to us and say, this is what I can't find in the market. And, they're very inspirational for us and giving us some direction. And then we make a decision whether that direction is broadly for the market or specific to a customer. And sometimes it's both. And then we work to that end. Conversely, what we try to find, with designers like Martin and our own design staff, and we work with a fellow by the name of Rene Azorio, what we try to find in those people is broad, timeless designs that can extend out and drive volume relative to the segment of the market that we're trying to attack. Meaning that if we're doing a fine dining shape, our target sales may only be $500,000. But we try to broadly attack that segment. If we're doing an embossed shape for Banquet, our target may be $10 million. And Martin did a wonderful job on a product that Oneida sells. And it's a very timeless embossment, and it's probably one of the best-selling embossed shapes ever created, in our industry. And it's so successful because it's so timeless and it fits so many places.
Tommaso, then you get these products, these wonderful products that the chefs wanted. The manufacturer says you've got to do $10 million with it, and then you got to go out and sell this stuff.
Yeah, it's not easy, especially in the last years when everybody wants to be different, have a different tabletop presentation, and look for color, design, and not the traditional white china. So our approach is always to try to understand what are the feelings that the restaurant owner want to transmit to the guest, and try to combine that what the market offers. So right now, in the modern world, you can source any products in the US market, but also we outsource and we bring in products from Europe and from Asia. So our first approach is always to try to understand what's the feeling, what the owner wants to achieve, and then we give our suggestion, combining also retail pieces, or we work in the recent past with some pottery manufacturers, some artisan locals in the US to create that unique feel. That sometimes is difficult to combine with larger operations.
Do you have to, when you're doing that initially, when working with operators like restaurant associates or whoever, do you have to then, do they always know what they want? Or do you have to sort of interpret that?
Sometimes they think they know what they want. I think sometimes they start with what they want on the table, but it doesn't match what they want the guest to feel and to experience. So that's where sometimes we try to help and give our advice and say, okay, you want to achieve that, so why don't you try with this kind of presentation? And it doesn't limit to Chinaware, because now they're trying to present food in any other vessels, and not only Chinaware. It could be, because now glasses are for food, and China could be for drinks. I mean, there's a lot of mix of different material for the same scope.
I was thinking of